You know, life has a funny way of flipping the script. One moment, people look down on you, laugh at you, and act like they're better than you. But the next, well, let's just say karma has a way of serving justice in the most satisfying way possible. And trust me, this story, it's one for the ages. It all started when my ex-wife's new husband decided to mock me. Why? Because I was between jobs. Yeah, I was going through a rough patch. But what he didn't know was that I was just getting started on something bigger. And little did he realize that the very person he was laughing at would soon have the power to turn his world upside down. This is the story of how I went from being the butt of his jokes to being the man who fired him and his friends from my company. Buckle up, because this is a wild ride. I've noticed only 98% of you who watch haven't subscribed. Come on, guys, show some love and support. Thanks a bunch to those who have already subscribed. A few years ago, I had it all. A great job, a beautiful home, and a marriage I thought would last forever. But life doesn't always go as planned. My wife, the woman I had built my life with, decided she wanted something different, someone different. And before I even had a chance to understand what was happening, I found myself divorced, out of my house, and struggling to find work. Losing my job wasn't because I was lazy or incompetent. The company I had dedicated years to suddenly downsized, and I was left scrambling. But in those moments of struggle, you find out who's really there for you. And my ex-wife? She wasn't one of those people. She moved on quickly. Too quickly, actually. It wasn't long before she was married again, this time to a guy named Jeff. Now, Jeff, let's just say he was the kind of guy who thought he was better than everyone else. Arrogant, condescending, the type who loved to flaunt his success, even when it was built on nothing but luck and the right connections. And he made it his personal mission to remind me that I was just another unemployed loser. One evening at a family gathering where I had to be present for the sake of our mutual connections, Jeff took things too far. He was drinking, loud, and looking for someone to entertain his ego. And that night, I was his target. "So still looking for a job, huh?" He smirked, swirling his overpriced drink in his hand. "Man, I can't imagine being in your shoes. Must be tough, huh? No job, no money, no wife." People around us chuckled. My own ex-wife laughed along with him, shaking her head like she pitied me. My blood boiled, but I kept my cool. I wasn't about to let this guy break me, not when I knew what was coming. What Jeff didn't know was that I had been working tirelessly on a new business venture. I had taken my severance pay, my savings, everything I had left, and poured it into a startup. It was risky, but I believed in it. I had spent months networking, grinding, and building something from the ground up. And then, it happened. The breakthrough. My business took off. Not just small success, but massive. Investors came knocking. Clients started rolling in. And suddenly, I was back on top. But here's where it gets interesting. Months passed, and my company expanded. We needed to bring in new employees, and that's when I started recognizing familiar names in the applicant pool. And guess whose name popped up? Yep, Jeff. Not just him, his friends too. Turns out, the company he had been working for went under. They were all desperate for jobs. I had a choice. I could have ignored their applications. I could have rejected them outright. But no, that wasn't good enough. I wanted him to feel what I had felt. So I hired them. For a while, I let them work under me without revealing who I was. Jeff had no clue that the big boss was the same guy he had humiliated. And then, the moment arrived. At an important company meeting, I walked in. Jeff's face turned pale. He couldn't believe it. You own this place?" he stammered. Surprised, I smiled. "You shouldn't be. But hey, let's get straight to business. Jeff, you and your friends are being let go. Effective immediately." The room went silent. He stuttered, tried to reason, tried to plead, but I wasn't hearing it. "You mocked me when I was down," I said calmly. "Now I'm just returning the favor. You're fired." I turned and walked away, leaving Jeff and his friends to process their downfall. Weeks after I fired them, Jeff reached out to me, asking for another chance. He was desperate, struggling, and finally understood what it felt like to be at rock bottom. But I wasn't about to make it easy for him. "Maybe next time don't burn bridges," I replied before blocking his number. The best revenge? It wasn't just firing him. It was knowing he finally felt the humiliation and struggle he once laughed at. Life has a way of balancing itself out. The people who laugh at you today might just find themselves at your mercy tomorrow. And that's exactly why you should never underestimate anyone. Success is a journey, and sometimes the ones who start at the bottom end up sitting at the top. Before you go, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a comment below. Have you ever experienced a moment where karma served justice right in front of your eyes? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay wise.